Guys, today I'm going to bring you the best of both worlds with my friends at Public Rec, where comfort meets style. I was tired of sacrificing my comfort to try to look good, so I went and got some new gear from Public Rec. Now I no longer have to choose. I can seriously wear my Public Rec pants anywhere. They're nice enough to wear out to dinner. I did wear them because they were so versatile while I was playing golf. I even wore them to church on Sunday. In fact, they're comfortable enough. My buddy Justin sleeps in his like pajamas. Public Rec has got all of your occasions covered. With a blend of performance materials, it's got a perfect combination of breathability and stretch while still keeping its form. And Public Rec gets better. You can try an array of products like shorts and hoodies to upgrade your wardrobe. Comfortable enough for the couch, but sharp enough for the city. For a limited time, my listeners can save 20% by using code SONNEN at checkout. I want you to head to publicrec.com today, or just click on the link below. Oh, and when they ask how you found them, tell them Chael sent you. Two young men are supposed to fight at the Apex tomorrow. Fight's off. Fight is off because Santos did not go to the scale. Now, I want to make sure you're hearing me right. I didn't say Santos missed weight. He did not show up to the weigh-ins. What could prompt that? If you were just to guess, what could prompt that? I imagine it would be something very simple, such as I was overweight. I was trying to get my weight off. I had not gotten it off. And therefore, why bother going to the scale? That would have been a waste of everybody's time. Maybe. I would listen to that, sure. Just awfully hard to prove. Let me lay out another scenario for you. There's 11 fights every Saturday in the UFC alone, to the total of 48 weigh-ins per year. Most of those cards, somebody misses weight. Somebody will miss weight every single Saturday. And I can't remember the last time a fight didn't go on. In fact, if I had to bet, he just blindly told me to go out there with nothing more than my mind. Chael, what one would it be? I think it's the night that Wonder Boy refused to fight Michelle on that weigh-in debacle. I know that's the most famous fight, but I think it's the only fight. I don't think there was even a lesser between known guys where the actual fight was canceled. I don't think so. I've only seen fights canceled in one jurisdiction due to a weight loss, and that was in New York, and that was specifically because there's a percentage that your opponent cannot weigh more than you. It was an unknown rule. In fact, when the first time this came out in New York, both guys made weight. It was a heavyweight fight. One weighed in at 265 and one weighed 206. They both made weight, and New York canceled the fight because of the unknown clause about the discrepancy. So even though they were in the same weight category, the fight was off. But I'm just trying to share and really illustrate for you how literal this is of a statement that had Santos missed weight, which happens all the time, the fight still goes on. And there's even a built-in remedy, a punishment in place. 10% of your purse, and that goes to your opponent. In many jurisdictions, it's 20% of your purse. 10% stays with the commission, 10% goes to your opponent. So I'm purely sharing for you. We're all very familiar with the rules of Nevada. We're all very aware that guys often miss weight. We're all very aware that the fight goes on. And even if I was to use the Wonder Boy Michelle example, the skunk at the garden party came out, according to the media, to be Wonder Boy, who had done nothing wrong. So my only point is, if you are overweight, our industry doesn't look down on you. A little bit of your purse goes, but versus not showing up and losing 100% of your purse, it's not so bad. And we follow the golden rule, which is the show must go on. So how much must have he been overweight? That's a very fascinating concept. How much would you have to be overweight to not show up to a scale that, by the way, you don't have to make the weight anyway? You're just supposed to make the weight.
How much? What do you think? 8 pounds? 8 pounds would probably do it? 8 pounds to get you laughed at? There was one, I can't remember how much weight it was. It was something crazy, man. It was like 20 pounds. It was Mayhem Miller. It was something like 20 pounds. It was crazy. He shows up to the scale. He's in Japan. He shows up to the scale. He's in his shorts. He's overweight by 20 pounds. He steps off. He calls for the towel. He takes his short. He wants to get back on. And did. They put him back on, and sure enough, he was 3/4 of a pound less. It was just one of these situations of why show up? You would have called it ahead of time. You would have said, here's what it is. Everybody comes together. If you're not going to do it, if you broke and you got a tablecloth full of food and drink and all these other things and you're not showing it, you calling your opponent no. Would be how this industry is done. Brian Ortega did that just recently. In fact, he was supposed to fight Lopez. It was International Fight Weekend. It's where they ended up bringing in Dan Ige, just to remind you. But as soon as Brian Ortega knew, I'm not going to beat the scale, that was 3 a.m, and he had Tiki call and let Lopez decide no, just in case he was sitting there suffering as well. You should not suffer anymore because of me, so let me let you know now. But that didn't happen here. He just no-showed. It's very interesting. If I was to tell you the things that I have seen with my own eyes that people have done to get out of a fight, I truly think it would blow your mind. I truly think it would. One guy left the building. Like, the promoter felt that all he needs to do is get you there for the building. If he can get you back for the rules meeting, he will have his car. Like, that's what his history had told him. But this one guy he didn't want to be there. He didn't want to come back, and they got him back, but he didn't want to be there. So he was looking for a way out. So he finally found it, and he took up running. He's running. They run after him. And that was the only part of the story I don't know why they did. This was in Hawaii. They ran after him. And there was even a situation of a fence where he's on the chain link and he's crawling the fence to get the other side, and that's where they decided to let him go. And I remember thinking, that's weird that you went after him. If you even had an inkling of a notion that that's how he felt, you should have got him out of this. I remember thinking that part of it. But what an incredible thing. What an incredible thing. And fight or flight is very real. You would be stunned how few of fighters have not at some point in their career had a fantasy of pulling a fire alarm or having a friend call in a bomb threat to the building just to get them out of the match. That is not a joke. And notice how I worded it. I'm not saying you'd be surprised how many fighters do it. No. You'd be how few have not. It is a much smaller group that hasn't had that fantasy. It's an interesting thing. But you don't generally see it on the level of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. But something happened today to Santos, who I wish well. By the way, I do not know where he is. I only know of other stories of fighters being in a hospital, and we're the first to know. If that's a situation here, we'll come out and amend this. But right now, we're just guessing. Santos did not show up to weigh-ins, which in many ways is a smarter thing to do. If you're going to miss weight by some ridiculous amount, the proper thing to do is call and tip him off ahead of time. But the next best thing you can do for your own career is don't show up. Because now you've got a million different excuses that you can draw from, none of which are going to actually be followed up. You're just going to have to say it one time. It'll go through the industry. You're free and clear. If you actually show up to the scale and you're a gross amount of weight over, you're going to have a big problem. We just had a match. Title fight. One half of it did not show up. Called the wee hours of the morning. And there's a lot of people that were very upset. But what those people don't know is when that call came, one question was asked. Right now, how much does he weigh?